Hi everyone, welcome to Morning Matcha. Today I'm here with the founders of Quilt, Ashley Sumner and Gianna Wurzl. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for having me here.
Welcome to my home. Thanks for coming.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And I've obviously known you for a couple years now, but I've never had, we've met at Wanderlust way back, but never had a chance to actually talk. So I'm really excited to chat with both of you together. Tell us what is Quilt? And then tell us how you guys met.
Wonderful. Okay, so what is Quilt? That's a great question. Quilt is a new way for women to connect offline. So for us, everything happens out of the home. Whether you're having a conversation, whether you're co-working, or whether you're learning from one another. And we have built a platform, so an online space, a website where women can go online, list their homes for one of these sessions, and other women can book to enter their homes. That was very all over the place, but yeah, go ahead. Does that sound about right?
It sounds about right.
The way we describe it changes often. But we met a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, through Ashley's community building efforts and through the company that I first brought to LA, which is how we met, which is called One Roof, where we were converting homes into community and co-working spaces for women. And after, I brought that here, I guess in June of 2015. And over the course of a week, there were, 10 different women that put us on a Facebook message and a text message and an email. And they were like, the two of you have to meet.
Wow.
And so we were like, okay, not sure why. Ashley came to One Roof. It was on Halloween.
Yeah, we skipped Halloween, but neither of us ever made it into our costumes because we were just sitting there geeking out on women's retreats ideas. And I had just, as cliche as it sounds, I'm from New York and I was here working for this company, Noya House. And I was meant to go back to New York and I was gifted an experience to Burning Man. And when I went there, I fell into this tent, which happened to be the TED Talk tent, trying to get out of a sandstorm, which happened to be one of the founders of Burning Man, talking about female leadership and community. It was the first time I really heard this language, and I was just crying. I had no idea what this experience was. And as soon as I got back, right when I was supposed to move back to New York, and I said, no, I can't, I was introduced to her walking through the front doors of the company she had, One Roof, and was just blown away by this experience and the importance of home and ambitious women coming together and being really supportive of one another. So we both had this kind of burning desire to have more impact in the community world and a desire to use tech to facilitate this impact. And that's kind of the genesis of Quilt.
I love it. I was part of One Roof, and we both kind of transformed our businesses around the same time. So it's nice to see how you've used tech really to create an amazing platform for women. And so a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to help host an event. And that was so powerful. And I loved the group of women that showed up. And I am just so curious, how that has been for you, building community. Because I think a lot of times women, or not just women, people right now, it's it's really nice to use the technology and the internet for meeting people, but then taking that actually into meeting someone in person and gathering can be really challenging to get people to show up. So have you guys found it challenging at all, or does it just come with the community aspect of the brand?
Yeah, I don't think it's been, I think what's so interesting is that the nature of what we've created, this idea of home and 8 to 10 women and sparking a conversation, if kind of the chat, which is what we experienced and co-hosted in Chelsea's home, the chat is kind of the entry point to all of the other things. So that's once a woman is comfortable going to another woman's home to have this facilitated conversation, then from that point they're oh, and then I could go and work in that home, and then I could go and learn something in that home. And I think it's just giving women the permission to follow their intuition, because we find women driving from Silver Lake to Venice and showing up at a woman's home for a chat because they read an article, whether it was on the Fullest or in the New York Times, and they're I don't know why I'm here. I read about this yesterday and I just felt like I needed to be here. And I'm not even really sure what's going to go on in this hour. And so I think it's actually quite natural for women and people, but for women in particular, to gather in small groups inside of a home. I think the difference now is that Quilt is professionally minded. And so it's kind of the new age version of a Tupperware model, which is why the name Quilt is like so appropriate for us as this metaphor for community building, because quilting is a creative exercise amongst women and has been happening since the 1400s. But ultimately, they're there to community build and to connect. And so that's the shared experience that allows them to do that. So it feels like it's been pretty natural.
Yeah, I mean, our intention coming together was always around how we bring a woman online to bring her offline to bring her back online. And I think a lot of communities either start online or they start offline and then they try to figure out later how to include the other one because they realize that they want to have a more holistic offering. So it's like becomes the second thought that they have. The creation of this was to marry the two together and create a cohesive experience. The inspiration was like doing it offline for so long and seeing the need for online and then taking a pause and like relaunching with both of those together. So I think that's why women are showing up, because it's just so clear that is like the one thing we do is we bring you offline to have connection, and we use tech to help that happen, but not try to replace it. So I think it kind of ends where it starts, and that's why maybe. But
what have you guys learned about yourself through the process?
Well, I can go to our brand platform. Our purpose for the company is we're unlocking woman-made. So it's like we know what the world looks like, man-made looks like. What does the world look like with more woman-made in it? And underneath that, we have these commitments. And obviously those have come out of us and learning about our styles and co-leading something together. And the one that really resonates with me is the word quality. It's always saying, it's like, what are the best ingredients you can use to create something? And I'm a perfectionist. Like I'm very specific about how something, like if you have more time, you can put more energy into making an experience like even better. There's like the dark side of that too, though, of like knowing when to just like get it out there. And that's why I think we complement each other so well, because she definitely helps me in just moving through sometimes getting stuck in my perfectionism. So
yeah, I mean, it's so hard because I think, I learn so much on a daily basis, and starting a business, starting with One Roof and then migrating into quilts. We did this talk like years ago through One Roof that was around how starting a business is the best platform for personal growth, because you kind of don't have a choice. You can, there's an advisor and friend and coach of ours that talks about being like a train on the rubble or a train on the tracks. And so I think that inevitably you potentially will both get there. It's just like, do you want it to be this like hard, challenging ride, or do you want it to be more in flow? So I think it's definitely been my core theme changes, I think, month to month and year to year. I think this year it's been about just continued surrender. I've gone through some personal stuff, and I think it's very challenging to kind of wake up on a Monday morning and be like, all right, everything's going to be, I'm going to be through it now. And so to not put that expectation and just understand that you're exactly where you're meant to be, and to just have permission around that. In regards to the brand platform, again, we've equally contributed to create the platform, and one of the things that definitely resonates with me is this idea of wildly simple. So it's like, I don't know if you're familiar with the RX bars, which I love the branding, because it's like 4 egg whites, 2 dates, 2 almonds, and you're like, I get it. Yeah. Right. So how can you contribute, or how can you attribute that to everything that we're doing? So I love this idea of like simplicity is queen. So.
Well, so as 2 women entrepreneurs, I think obviously you have a lot that you're connecting with your audience and your members, but who else is a member at Quilt? Like, I'm assuming it's not just entrepreneurs, right? Or is it mainly? I don't know.
No, I think one of the most interesting things when we launched, we just assumed it's like Airbnb meets WeWork for female entrepreneurs, and women are going to show up because they're sitting at home alone and they don't want to be anymore while they're working. We have that woman, definitely. But one of the biggest things were women wanted things to be going on in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. And that allowed women on their way to work or leaving work or dropping off their kids to for this to really resonate and be the sense of community around kind of their professional and personal dreams and coming together. So what's been awesome is how diverse the community is. We have a 21-year-old member. We have a 67-year-old member. She is like the ultimate. She's an empty nester from the South, like really rad woman. And we're noticing that it translates for them, just as strongly as the women in their 30s and 40s, which we may have more of in entrepreneurs. But I think the ultimate dream is being able to both inspire a woman to kind of design her life the way she wants to, which includes her professional dreams, but also be able to predict when a woman's going to leave her company and go start something, and how we can back her and support her, which I think, there just haven't been a large enough offerings for women in that sense to be able to understand what their needs are and create something for them, or just kind of make a new structure to fit their needs, which is something we're very passionate about. So you see these women who are going through change, and we can now be, whether they're going to change a job or ask for a raise or have children or go into retirement, they're not dead yet. Like, there's still needs associated with it, and we can kind of be that for them. So
yeah, the chat that we did was actually a pretty good representation. I think the oldest member there probably would have been in her late 40s.
Yeah.
But both in, ethnicity, belief system, industry. And I think that's really important, because if you're just surrounded by like-minded, everyone that looks like you, everyone that thinks the same as you, it doesn't really drive you forward or elicit growth. So so we've really tried to be as intentional, very aware of the fact that we're like two early 30s, blonde, white women living on the west side of Los Angeles. So how we do that is growing through other women's communities.
Yeah, because it was a really diverse group.
Yeah.
So can anyone join?
Yeah, we are for the every woman. So I think that's where our offering is also quite interesting when you think about something like a Soho House or a WeWork, where it is quite expensive to walk through the front door to then spend more money. We are $79 for 3 months, or $199 for the year, which gives you unlimited access to chats, our online group, and our member directory. And then for Learn, Shops, and Co-working, you pay an additional, but those are on average $20 to $25 per session, which is also very affordable. So we are absolutely creating this for the every woman so that more women can access it, because the top 1% are then very easy to get, because this can be in addition to, as we know, we're part of different communities. So yeah, very intentional about structuring it both at a price point and the offering and the things that we're educating on that will resonate with a broader group of women.
What about, have you had anyone who identifies as female but might not look the part? And have there been challenges in terms of going to another person's home? Or I'm so curious about that. And then, we'll speak on that. And I'm also curious about just like you mentioned, feeling safe to go into another person's home. Are there reviews? But I first want to talk about identifying.
Yeah, we have full spectrum. We have transgender members. We've always said that our offering is for everyone. Women or people that identify as female have been absolutely the first to walk through the door, and for the women to kind of open their door, it seems to be resonating the strongest with them. But we are a very inclusive community. And then, with building this marketplace, it's like we are setting the tone of what the offering is. It is very inclusive. We are very welcoming. We are, provocative in our own way and leading by example. And that sets a tone when building community. In my experience, the community is very much comes from the people that founded it and how you carry that brand through. And so we're really focused in these early stages on making sure that that's communicated. But we listen to our members, and we also have set up the technology so that they can communicate with us, give us information, right after the experience, whether you're hosting or a guest, and telling us like what has happened and what that's like, what it was like for them, or what they'd like more of or less of. And we've always been very good at, we're pretty alive in the sense that we want to grow with the community. Something that's also great, even though we're technically a tech company, is we're very close with, we know right now, we know all of our members, and they can feel really comfortable like writing in and talking to us and seeing us. Like, we're still opening up our home, and they can come in and experience it firsthand. And we really see that as concentric circles, just kind of like bleeding out from the center of it. I don't know but weird reference, but it's true. It just kind of keeps seeping in. So that's where we're at now.
Yeah, we do. I mean, to Ashley's point, we have ratings and reviews that are all internal now. With the next iteration of what we're building, there will be testimonials and things that are more forward facing, because the women in the community are very interested in the woman who's opening her home. So it's less about like, how many bedrooms? Like, it's not Airbnb or PeerSpace. It's very much with the woman at the forefront.
Yeah.
So we do have those ratings and reviews that come in, and then, you know, from a practical sense, when a woman lists her home, her address is not visible to the world. So once that booking is confirmed, which the host can choose to have an instant booking or something where they want to accept the booking. The thing that's been fascinating, and I mean, knock on wood, like thus far, there have not been any issues of anyone being disrespectful or misrepresenting themselves, whether that be, you know, a woman or a man showing up and having, because we do have profile photos and things like that to ensure that it is honest. But yeah, as we continue to iterate on the technology that we're building and doing it in parallel as we're building the community, I think that's what's really fascinating, is it'll inform how it all works together, as opposed to like tech is built over here and the community is built over here. So yeah, but there are those like practical checkpoints to ensure to the best of our ability that these women feel safe and supported, but there's no problem. And women want to open their homes like all day, every day, everywhere, which is amazing.
So you go on quilt.com and then you sign up, and then you're automatically a member, or do you guys talk to them, or how does that?
Great question.
Yeah, so everybody's first experience before becoming a member, you can spend $9 to access your first chat. So usually that's step one. Although women come to the site, they've like heard us talk or something, and they just go and pay for it. The second somebody purchases anything, whether it's $9 or a membership, we have a customer success team that like reaches out, provides information, make sure you're aware of the things happening in your neighborhood, or if you have a commute in the neighborhood you're going to. And so there is that human kind of touch point for guidance. And we're kind of always there to support.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because there has been some confusion. Like, when you create a login, does that mean that you're a member? And creating a login just means that you are now a user, but not necessarily a member. And so there's that on the member side. And then on the host side, traditionally out of each chat, we're getting a couple of women that then want to host, which you also witnessed. They're like, oh my gosh, this is like, I don't need to have a 3,000 square foot home. Chelsea's home was beautiful, cute little apartment. And it's like, oh, okay, I could do this. And you're empowering me with a theme and a discussion guide. And so out of that, we get a couple of women who want to host. And the same way that there's a customer success manager on the member side, we also have that on the host side. So we take the host through a process of onboarding them and educating them on how to facilitate and how it functions. And we get on the phone with them and make sure that they feel really comfortable before they open their front door.
They're members as well, right? Or they don't have to be?
You don't, in order to host, you don't have to be a member, but a lot of our hosts are also paying for membership, because the value for each side is the same. It's not like Airbnb where it's like you're either a guest or a host for the most part. There's very much an overlap in regards to their needs and what they value.
So where is Quilt right now, like based? I mean, not based, but what areas are you serving right now? And when is that going to change?
Yeah, so we are deep in LA, from everywhere from Boyle Heights to Pacific Palisades to Koreatown and everywhere in between. We're also fully launched in New York. That was a really cool thing, kind of never expected to like go to New York so quickly, although from there selfishly kind of wanted to. But I think, you know, the New York Times and some of the press, women were like, we want this. So we beta tested New York. We're now live there. We have a community manager on the ground there, like programming and meeting with people.
That's so exciting. When did that happen?
So in the past month, we became like fully fledged there. But the past 3 months, we kind of have been beta testing.
Nice.
We're also in San Francisco. but that's like a bit quieter and not as much going on. And what's been awesome is, we've had thousands of women write in from all over the world, just like evangelizing, excited, community builders, hosts, women. And we're now kind of working through exactly what our strategy is to make sure that, we are there, we can put enough energy and attention there for it to be there, but to also kind of like let them take the reins as well. So the focus now is definitely on building out our tech so it can support the type of growth that it seems like we're going to have.
Yeah, because I'm sure people all over the world, I mean, the other day I was watching someone on Insta stories. I just found out about this brand and they were like, oh, we just opened a chapter in Kenya.
Right.
Because the women in Kenya want this. And I was like, that's so incredible. And to build a platform that can reach those people and empower them all over the world, but on the same like agenda, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, every month, looking at the same things, whether that's for business or internally. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, how we've always communicated, which now it feels small, is that like right now, at noon on what's today, Tuesday, there's 1 million homes open with 10 women sitting inside each. And we've built this concept not just to cater to, women in America.
Yeah.
So it feels like a global concept, and the desire to convene, it's been around for centuries.
It'll be interesting to like navigate the political landscape with that too. Like my parents are from Iran. So,
Culturally,
I'm sure women in Iran would love that and they all gather together anyways, but it'd be interesting to see if you could do business there. And
Yeah, it's a very exciting thought.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we think about that often.
Yeah. So what are you most excited about with Quilt? Like what are you looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to fully realizing the vision in a technical format. So I think that we feel very grounded in the decision in the way that we first built out the website as a way to just test our MVP. But I think that the vision is always to have a mobile application that gives you on-demand access. So whether it's in your own city or you land in a new city and you open up Quilt and you see I could go and learn in that home, I could go and co-work out of that home, I could go and chat in that home. And this woman's a marketing director and this woman's an artist, and kind of have that flexibility is super exciting, because right now we're happy with the website that we have, but the community is ready to evolve and is ready for a different tool. So I think I'm such a curious person by nature. So inevitably we're going to learn so much, and you think you have the answers, and then you put something up and a different set of issues or challenges that you would have never imagined. So I'm just really excited to uncover those with the launch of the new product towards the end of this year.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. I like the Quilt team, like internally, our employees, like is definitely a family. And it's been being able to go from the 2 of us to 4 to 6 to 10. We've been very thoughtful about who's come in, and the diversity of thought and idea and supports and background. I'm continually blown away by how everyone's kind of showing up, and to see the internal baby also grow so that Quilt can exist. And it is so much bigger than the 2 of us. And it feels like we have been very supported in this journey. Like the universe has definitely just like been like, oh, you need this thing? Here it is. We're like, thank you. So I'm surrendering to just how awesome it's been, the people that are behind this. So,
which I've heard you talk about your team in that way too, which is
yeah,
really cool.
I know. I totally get that. It's so important who you're bringing in. And I was just going to say, you guys have such chemistry too. So it's awesome to see 2 partners, because it's not easy to pick a business partner. It's like getting married. So it's awesome to
This is my most successful commitment so far.
Yeah.
We're more bound contractually than I've ever been to anyone else.
Anything. So yeah.
Well, I'm so excited about what you guys are doing, and that app sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Because we all travel and we want to still go and meet people and still have work to do, and I think that's a really good idea. So I'm really excited to use the app.
Oh, thanks.
And thanks for having me. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for the matcha.